Hey YouTube, thanks for stopping by the channel and thanks for clicking play today. Boy, do we have some amazing stuff to talk about this week. So Chevy has released a trailer and also a release date, an unveiling date possibly, July 25th, 2024. We are going to be seeing the ZR1. That's right, the C8 ZR1 is going to be a reality coming up July 25th, 2024. There's been a lot of speculation around this car. Is it going to be a flat plane crank? Is it going to be a cross plane crank? Is it going to be the LT6 motor with twin turbos on it? I am 99.9% confident that it's going to be twin turbos, not supercharged, not twin charged like some people claim. The flat plane crank versus cross plane crank question really is one that is probably the most controversial one. I'm sticking to that. I feel that Chevy's going to do like Ford did and do the cross plane crank version. Sorry, guys, of the 5.5 liter LT6 to make the LT7 with twin turbos. Now, Ford did it with the GT350. The GT350R had the 5.2 liter Voodoo, which was a flat plane crank, revved to like 8250. They basically put the same architecture with a cross plane crank into the Shelby GT500 in 2020 with the supercharger on it, the 5.2 motor, making 760 horsepower, something like that. But they kept basically the same architecture, but they went from a flat plane crank NA motor to a cross plane crank boosted motor. And I'm still sticking with the fact that that's what Chevy's going to do with the ZR1. Now, either way, it's a win-win for us. I mean, we're projecting, most knowledgeable sources are saying, 850 horsepower to the crank. That's a huge step up, and that also puts, if you're talking a future Zora model, that's going to, with the front engine motor, 150 horsepower from that, whatever, that's going to give us that mythical 1,000 horsepower, which was what Chevy had teased all along from a standpoint of this 1,000 horsepower Corvette was coming back when they dropped that in 2019 for the unveil. So that's kind of where I'm at. If you guys haven't already seen some of these spy shots that are on, I'm going to put some of them up here on the screen, and then as kind of like overview here to show you that we have quite a bit of spy shots that are out there now. I mean, we've seen them in variants with the high wing, we've seen them in variants with the low wing, we've seen them in variants with no wing, we've seen them with the cooler, the front coolers for the electric motor. So maybe they're testing the Zora and the ZR1 together. That's my bet. That's kind of what I'm going with here. But the other things that's kind of been leaked recently is YDBT. I'm not going to say the name, but everybody knows who he is. Alejandro Flores, or Alex Flores, posted some pictures of some turbos that he claims are LT6, LT7 turbos, and manifold pictures, both CAD designs and just kind of like manifolds. I have been in the engine compartment and had this car part. We've done high flow cat installs, we've done cat delete installs, we've done exhaust installs. I've spent a good bit of time in the back in there, and the manifolds that are up here that we're going to be showing, they don't look like the standard LT6 manifold that I've seen all the times that I've been back in the engine bay on this car. So I am 100% confident we've got a twin turbocharged ZR1 coming, but the question is going to be displacement, cross plane versus flat plane, and then the final horsepower numbers. Again, I'm saying cross plane, I'm saying 850, but who knows? They, Chevy really could do a flat plane crank version, twin turbo. Drop the compression ratio a little bit to be more boost friendly. That's very easily doable, keeping the LT6 architecture and just making it the LT7. Okay. Ferrari's doing that. McLaren's doing that. A lot of people have, cross plane and flat plane crank twin turbo V8s. Okay. Most of them are not 5.5 liters, though. That's a really big flat plane crank motor. When you start running into flat plane cranks, you get into a lot of vibration, which is a lot of the problem. And the bigger your displacement gets with those flat plane crank motors, the more vibration you're going to get. And that makes it very difficult to balance the motor out and just have it not tear itself apart. Okay. But again, my reality of this is that I've seen what they benchmarked the Z06 against the 458, and I've seen now they're benchmarking this ZR1 against the SF90. Now, I've hypothesized previously in this video that they're probably testing the ZR1 and the Zora at the same time. So if you have the ZR1 and the Zora that you're testing at the same time, the SF90 would be the absolute perfect car to benchmark both of those against, because the drivetrain is a hybrid drivetrain with the twin turbo V8 and the electric motors up front. So again, good benchmark for both of them, right? It will be no doubt whatever Chevy gives us is going to be an absolute monster. Okay, it's going to look great. I love the air vents in the front hood that are going to help with both cooling and more likely aerodynamics or downforce. And then we've already seen the big wing. People are already making ZR1 style wings, but that big wing. And then the question is going to be, is it going to get active aero? Is it going to get, is Zora going to get active aero? Um, I don't think on the base ZR1 or the ZR1, I don't think it's going to have active aero. I do think you're going to be able to get separate packages or different packages like you could with the 2019 ZR1, right? You had the ZTK high wing track pack, you had all that. I still think that's going to be an option that it's going to come with a smaller wing, and then you can click the ZTK pack, get a little bit more aggressive aero, get the big wing, those type of things. But I think the base car itself is not going to have active aero. I think the active aero is honestly going to be for the Halo car for the Zora. That puts it right up there with the McLarens, the Ferraris, all of those cars that, the Zora, the Halo car is supposed to be up there competing with and destroying, right? But we'll see. It's an exciting time. I hope we actually get to see the car at Carlisle. As far as that goes, even in camouflage form, it will still be cool to get some pictures and some video of it. Maybe even hear them start it up. I'm sure if they have it there and it hasn't been fully released, they'll have the back window blacked out with the camouflage so you can actually see the motor and those type of things. But who knows? We are going to be at Carlisle. We do have a vendor booth. We're going to be selling items there for DBM Racing. So please come on by, hang out with us, say hey, what's up. But just had to talk about this as far as the ZR1 coming. It's really exciting. I mean, we're at a point where an 850 horsepower Corvette coming from GM with a warranty that will compete with world supercars. And this is a great time to own a Corvette. The last thing that everybody's speculating on, this is a big question, of course, is what's it going to, have drivetrain wise? What's the horsepower going to be? Active aero is going to be the price. It's going to be expensive. You figure you can base price, on a Z06 was it's about 110 give or take. You can option those things out very quickly to 150, 160, depending on if you go full out on options. I am expecting a base of about 160. I was originally going to say 150 just because it kind of puts it in that next that mid 150 that range where it's going to compete with maybe a used McLaren or something like that. But I'm going more towards 160 now because of Chevy raised the base price on the Z06. The E-Ray is 104,000 base or something like that. So now I'm definitely going to. It's going to be closer to the 160. I mean, like 159,999 or some trickery like that. So you don't think it's 160,000, but it's going to be 160,000. And I believe these cars will option out well over 200 grand. I think you can option this car out probably, I would say probably close to 220 would be what you could option this out at. We'll see where I come in at. I'm pretty confident in those numbers, but we'll see. And then the last thing is, man, are we going to be able to get these things without markup? I am on a dealer list that I got my Z06 for where they only charge us MSRP if we were willing to wait for an allotment. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to depend on production numbers. I mean, they don't know what allotments they're going to get. They're not guaranteed anything, but you're still also talking about a car that, could be a $200,000 car with options. And then dealers are going to want another 50 to 100K, right? I mean, that's a possibility. There are people out there with the money that'll spend it, they'll buy it, and they won't even think twice about it. Case in point would be the Dodge Demon 170s, right? I mean, that was a $120,000 car. Was it worth $120,000? I don't know, but I will say that there were plenty of instances where people were charging $100,000 over. So you're getting into a Dodge Demon 170 because of the exclusivity of it. They only made 3,000, for 220. Could I see dealers charging 50 or 100,000 above, MSRP for these? Absolutely, absolutely. There are dealers that are going to do that. This has been a soapbox for me for years that I think manufacturers should blackball dealers that take advantage of the consumer that way. But hey, it's a free market. Somebody's going to pay it. If I were the dealer, would I throw away that extra money on, markups on Z06s or when the Stingrays first came out? Probably not. But again, being on the consumer side of things, I just don't agree with it because I was able to get my car at MSRP. And Chriswell actually even honored the fact that from 2023 to 2024, they went up on the base price of the Corvette, and they did not charge us that because our orders actually went in August before they announced the price. Even though we were getting 2024 cars, we had put our order in before that, and they actually honored that. So they didn't charge us that upcharge. So there are some good, reputable dealers out there that are willing to work with you guys. My salesman there was Anthony Vaccione. I'll put his name and his confirmation or his contact number on the bottom, but he has treated us nothing but right. Like I said, they honored the 2023 pricing when we ordered. When we actually heard about it later, they did not upcharge us. So there are dealers out there that are good dealers that are willing to, work with you on getting you at MSRP, and they're not just trying to gouge you. But I'm really confident that the ZR1 is going to be very difficult to get at MSRP, even though Chriswell has said that they haven't guaranteed it like they did with the Z06, but they've said that they don't they don't typically do that. But we'll see. I guess it's going to come down to how many allotments they have, right? Like I am on the list, but if they don't get the number of allotments, they're one of the bigger dealers. But still, if they're not getting allotments, they're going to want upcharges on these to make up for the fact that they're not getting the allotments like other places might be. I don't know. We'll see. But that's kind of where we're at. It's an exciting time. The ZR1's coming, guys. The ZR1 is coming July 25th, 2024. We're going to see the C8 ZR1 unveil. I'm hoping we get all the details at that time. I kind of got a feeling they're going to trickle it out, and maybe we'll get the final details, and maybe I should get to see the car at Carlisle. But again, if that's not the case, any information is great, and just kind of trying to figure out what they're doing, and their marketing is genius with these teasers. And if you notice in some of the last few teasers in the videos, there's little rockets like the Gemini rockets that are on the heads of the intake manifolds on the Z06. So they've got a lot of Easter eggs and a lot of teasers. They know exactly what they're doing. None of this is by accident, and I don't believe any of this is leaked. I know it's put out there intentionally to continue to stir and build demand and keep people talking about the car, and it's working. I've been talking about it. We do the Horsepower Obsessed Corvette Weekly every other week. My friend Brandon and I check out his channel at Brandon's Garages. And that's what we've been talking about a lot lately is the ZR1 coming, the ZR1's coming, the ZR1's coming, the cross plane versus flat plane. Those two think it's going to be flat plane. Very well could be. I'm just going to stay there. I've already said it's going to be cross plane. I'll take the L if it happens to be, but I'm going to stick with that on my end. Maybe I get lucky. Maybe I'm the smarter one. Maybe not. Who knows, right? But it's good that it keeps us talking about these things and keeps the car relevant. It's going to be an absolute monster regardless. I mean, the Z06 is so good. I just don't know how it gets better chassis wise. I know it will. I know the aero is going to be better. I know the chassis is going to be a little bit better. And I cannot imagine my car with another 200 horsepower. My car, with just cold air intake and exhaust, ported throttle bodies is making, 640 at the tire, give or take. And I can't imagine this thing with another 200 horsepower. It's a lot to handle now, and it is very fast. It's a lot faster than people think it is. And around a track, I mean, I'm gonna do a whole separate video on that. But around the track, it was like number 5 or number 6 all time in the car and driver lightning lap. It's just that good. Okay, so I can't imagine how much better the ZR1's gonna be. I can't wait to see the badging on the car, just everything. And I'm hoping I start to see some of these new colors. Right, I want to see a ZR1 in Sebring orange. I want to see a ZR1 in this Hysteria purple. I think that would be insanely good. So we'll keep you informed and updated. Anytime we get more information, we're going to start doing more of these informational videos as we start to get more leaks, and we're going to try to get you guys some good information on the 25th. And if the car's there at Carlisle, we're going to get you guys a ton of information on this car. I cannot wait. So thanks guys for stopping by today. If you haven't already, like, share, and subscribe. Help us grow this channel. Help us keep bringing you good content like this, and we'll see you next time.